Welcome to my learnings. So I'm going to be sharing about anatomy. I'm taking an anatomy class, and the first lesson that we're learning about is the integumentary system. So with the integumentary system, integument means skin. And with the skin, there are three layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis, also known as the subcutaneous. With the epidermis layer, that's the outermost layer, and there's 5 different layers within that epidermis. There's the stratinum, stratinum corneum, and that stratum corneum top layer is where all the dead skin cells are, and that contains keratinocytes. So those are all the dead skin cell layers on the top that we kind of shed off sometimes. You'll see those kind of flake off if your skin's really dry. The layer underneath that is known as the stratum lucidum. The stratum lucidum is only found in thick skin. So that would be the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and that under a microscope is this thin kind of clear like gel layer, only found in thick skin. After that layer, underneath it, we have the stratum granulosum. And I always visualize little granules because all of those cells are starting to die off there, okay? And then underneath that layer, we have the stratum spinosum. So I visualize the cells starting to kind of spin up. Most of them are alive, they're starting to die off. Also in that layer is the Lansenberg, which is like these immune boosters. So there's a little bit of an immune defense action happening there as well, since the cells are a bit alive. They're just starting to die off. Underneath that layer, really important, is the stratum basali. And in that basali layer, it's also a membrane, and that is where the cells, they grow and they divide and multiply. So very important area there. The next layer we have the dermis, and within that dermis middle layer is the papillary dermis and the reticular dermis. So those are almost like little peaks and valleys. I think of the papillary pointing down, the peaks pointing down, and then that rectal layer pointing up like little fingers combining together. And that's nourishing the skin, provides a lot of collagen and elastin within that skin. Also some of the capillaries go in there to nourish and cool, heat, and regulate the temperature of the skin. So a really important area. We also have some sensory tactile receptors there. They're known as the messiners discs. Underneath that layer is the hypodermis, known as subcutaneous. And that deeper layer contains the adipose tissue, which is like the fatty tissue. That's very important for insulation and for cushion. In that layer, that deeper layer, we also have areolar tissue, which is a connective tissue. We have the deeper pain receptors. That's the Pulsinian corpuscle, and that's going to help out with deep pressure sensations, maybe pain even, sensing things, sensations, tactile sensations. Now within the dermis layer, I'm going to back to that middle layer, we have the hair, the kind of that bottom root, the root of the hair, and the bulb of the hair. And then as that hair rises up, we have the hair shaft that comes out of the top epidermis layer. Connected to that root, we have my favorite Arrector Pilli muscle, which makes your hair stand up on end, like when you're really cold, or that kind of goosebump-like effect. So I think that's pretty cool, easy to remember. And then attached to that also, we have, to the hair follicle, we have the sebaceous gland. Now it's produce oil. So sometimes you'll have like oily scalp, We need that oil. It has some microbacterial effects to it too. So it's really important. Let's see. We have the apocrine gland, which helps with, that's only found in the axillary area, the armpit area, and the anogenital area, like around the genitals. So with that, that's where BO is formed, hence armpit. Not everybody has BO, but that sense of sweat, right, under the armpits and the axillary area. We have the eccrine, which is sweat glands. We have that all over. That's naturally how we sweat, and we cool ourselves through the body when we're really hot. The sweat glands, the sweat pores. Yeah, that's pretty much all the layers that I was studying within the epidermis, the dermis, the hypodermis, which is also known as subcutaneous layer. I hope that helped. I know it helps me to say this out loud so I can remember what I'm learning, speak it out into words, and hopefully it helps you as well. Have a beautiful day.